Oh boy, what a workout. What I will say about coming off kratom, I'm over it now, guys. And it was no big deal because I wasn't abusing it. And I was always mixing strains. You know, I think the thing is with kratom, if you stick to one brand, one variety, one strain, one vein, then your body builds up an immunity, and then you're always tempted to say more, and that's when you get into abuse. But if you keep all the strains, I used to cycle 6, and I never used to have more than 2 bevel teaspoons of any particular one in any day, and I take like 3 or 4 bevel teaspoons, so constituting about 12 grams totally. But now I'm super energized. And so I made this video the other day, which was, you know, quite popular, about don't be in avoidance of people. And I said, well, you know, one of the people I've sometimes been in avoidance of is this guy that I see in the gym. And so anyway, I wasn't in avoidance of him today, and I saw him again. And we just engaged, and we're just talking for half an hour. We can talk forever. You know, like some of us, when we have chats, we can just talk forever. He's one of those, he's one of us. And he's just a great guy. He's just always like one of these guys, happy to see, hi mate, you know, wants to give you one of these, you know, big buddy hugs and all that sort of thing. Just genuinely fucking nice and got a lot of time for you and interested, and never tries to get away, anything like that. He's always interested. And he's got a lot of beautiful traits. And so we were speaking about the dark side of his steroids, his steroids use and abuse. The dark sides of that, very dark, takes people into a very dark place. And you know, he can articulate this stuff in a very fine way. So I started asking him about you know, his internal voice. You know, whether it's a monologue, whether it's a dialogue, and of course it turned out it's a dialogue. He's got a dialogue. That's why we have a dialogue, because he's a thinking person and he analyses everything all the time and works stuff out. And so this is amazing information, people, and it really does help us to understand the world a whole lot more now. And when we look at these politicians, and they are, you know, the last Canadian politician, the Australian politician, all politicians, I suppose, in these nasty Western countries under the globalism, you can see they're robots. They are robots. And there's nothing real about them. They go through these training schools of these, you know, top universities, whatever the equivalent is in America, but it's Eton in England. And most of these fuckers are going to Eton. You know, they're all born with a silver spoon in their mouth. They're born by these generations of people that are lording it over the masses with no God-given right, just, you know, because they can. Because I suppose some of them were, you know, a left brain and right brain thinking people, and then they've passed it down, and of course you can't assume. If it weren't a 6-foot fence, I would. Yeah, whoa, I piped them down. There's 4 of them fuckers. You want me to come over? You want me coming over there? Yeah, you see, they're all quiet now. 4 blokes, 25 years old, quiet as fucking mice now. Yeah. So, left brain, right brain. When we think with left brain and right brain, we get the whole fucking show, don't we? We get the whole shebang. We get the spiritual context and we get the matrixial context. Those that can't alternate between the two or use both, I've often said to you people that when I'm reading with my left brain and I'm holding conversation or thinking about something entirely different with my right brain. I'm doing this simultaneously, and I've always managed to do that, and often mentioned it to people, and they've gone, oh, that's fucking weird. And I'm like, I often wondered why that was, but now things are starting to become much more clear, and now I can see why these things are. And when people go, oh, you're no different to everybody else, no, I'm sorry, I am. And people like me are, and people that are in, you know, places doing stuff, they are different. They're not fucking fucking deadheads. They're not drones, they're not automatons. Of course, the real fully fledged human beings which use the whole of their brain and everything that they've been gifted with. And they all hold internal dialogues. And so, do you think Jordan Peterson and Russell Brand, don't have an internal dialogue? Yeah, arrest my case. And so, we just went into it. And anyway, I asked him, close his eyes and think of, a ping pong ball. And so he said, yeah. I said, what do you see? He said, I see a ping pong ball, but it's white. And it's bouncing on a brown wooden floor. I said, see if you can see a green ping pong ball. And he went, no, it's white. I said, okay, a picture of banana. Yeah, got it, banana. Huh. He said, funny enough, it's on the brown wooden floor as well. I don't know why that is. But so you see, he was obviously seeing these things. And but what I derived from that, he wasn't completely versatile in it. Like some people can say, yeah, I can see it, or they can get things changing colours and spinning round. Mr. Nobody, he could put things in his mind and he could have them doing all different sorts of things, singing and fucking dancing, because he trained himself to do that from a very young age, and he was like a lonely kid, Johnny No Mates, and so spent a lot of time fantasizing, in his little room at home. And so we all have these different abilities. And now when we look at people who are genius and who are very clever and articulate and can put their mind to so many things, it's starting to make sense. And as to why you've got thousands, millions of Muslims and Christians who obviously can't. And then you've got shelf packers and checkout girls who can't. But of course, we need these. And so I never had any compassion for these people. I've always believed that it's horses for courses and the world needs all sorts. Because if we didn't have these people, if everyone was a genius, we'd have no fucker to pump our gas and pack our chickens, would we? So the universe is a wonderful, perfect, beautiful thing, which gives us everything we need. Now, the powers that be that rule this earth currently, they realised this stuff a long, long time ago, and this information was probably passed on to them by Anunnaki, or by priests in these, secret schools of Gnosis and all this sort of thing. And so, of course, they've all been trained into the machinations of hypnosis and propaganda and manipulation, and the masters of it. And so I think it's fair game, and I've always said it's fair game. I don't have any problems with them, and the reason why I don't have any problems with them, because I don't consider I'm a victim, and I don't consider I ever will be a victim, because what I'm doing now, I'm doing what I'm doing courtesy of them. They know what I'm doing, but they can't prevent me because it's a part of their law, you see, but I know their law, and so that's why I can do it with impunity. And so it's fair game, you see. Look, it's all Jewish Talmud, people. They tell you what they're going to do in the Jewish Talmud, and so if you don't read these things, then you'll never know what they're going to do. But everything they're going to do, they have to get you to do it. They can't do it to you. They have to let you do it. And so if you wear the shackles that they place on the floor before you, then that's it, that's your choice. If you sign your life away on a 25-year mortgage, that's your choice. If you buy into all this debt and then they've got you for the rest of your life, that's your choice. That's what they do. And I have often opined, well, it's manipulation. It's kind of like cruel if these people are too stupid. But what do you do with stupid people? What are you going to do with sheep? What are you going to do with cows? What are you going to do with goats, people? Because if you let them just run wild, then they'll be just fucking eating your hedges, your fences, your fucking doorposts and everything. And so you got to keep them contained. And if you're going to contain them and, mind them, then you may as well fucking end up eating them at the end of the day. And so the powers that be, they look at the human cattle. They actually call them cattle. They call them goyim, people, for those of you that don't know. They've wrote about the goyim for hundreds of years. It means cattle. And so the cattle that they are farming, well, if they, are happy to stay in a pen and eat the fucking grass, then well, fucking great. And then when we want to tend to the slaughterhouse, we'll just fucking tell them, hey, this way, this is how it is. And so that's exactly what's going on. And I don't have any problem with that, because you can't give stupid people any positions of power because they don't know how to handle it. How many fucking tards have you seen that get a security suit on with one of these pig hats down like that, and they start looking at you like this, and they start telling you, hey, you can't do this, hey, you can't come in here, and they're taking on the importance of a billionaire or of a fucking triple fucking world champion boxer or some fucking thing, boxer that holds all the belts, because they're wearing this cunt suit. Heinous bastards, heinous fuckers. And so, little Hitlers, that's the term, isn't it? Little fucking Hitlers. So you've got to keep these fuckers in their place, and it's packing shelves and fucking, being dormant and knowing their fucking places. But you can't get carried away. But you see what the powers that be do, they start to give more and more power to traffic wardens, They're getting more and more power. They're being given more and more surreptitious power. And during the whole COVID thing, they were given more powers that they could actually arrest people. Can you believe that? And they were saying, oh, it's only a temporary thing, just because we're out, or we've not got the staff or something like this. But, whenever they pass laws like this in Parliament, they never retract them. They never take them away. People just forget about them. And so if you ever see anyone being arrested by a fucking traffic warden, or two, then you'll know what's going on. It's all happening, people. But you see, the clever ones, invariably we're not subject to it. Look at the clever ones that we see on the world. Look at the Russell Brands, the Jordan Petersons, the Joe Rogans, and the Weinstein brothers, and all those people. Well, I mean, none of them have took it. They haven't took it. And they're all doing very well, thank you, because they know what the deal is. That they're the few of the outsiders that can't be farmed. There's always going to be a percentage in all walks of life and facets of nature which will just not comply. They're always going to do their own thing. And so there's a good section of us that do our own thing. And I'm speaking to people, how many of you are actually doing your own thing 24/7? How many of you? Or how many of you say, oh no, I do actually do a job, or I am bound by this, and I have got a mortgage, and I've got credit card debt, and all those sort of things. Well, they've got you, haven't they? They've got you where they want you, and you just got to keep going to do what you've got to do. You can never just say, fuck it, I'm going to go and thumb around the fucking world, and I'm going to live on fucking donations, or I'm going to fucking wild forage my way around the world. So. Yeah, it's very, very interesting to see, and I want to start holding more conversations with anybody that's interested about these monologues or dialogues or aphantasia or anything that you've got to say about that. If you've ever in your life you start to put the pieces together and you're making realizations, but there's a lot more to it, and I'm just scratching the surface now, and so I'm going to be doing a whole lot more investigating in this realm. But it really is a revelation. It really is a major turning point. It's like 5 grams of shrooms, these new revelations now. And so there was another video that I'm going to make, so I'll make that in another place. Catch you in a bit.